Hello friends, and welcome back to the garden. It is Saturday, August 7th. We're starting kind of late in the day. It's around 4 p.m. here in southern New Jersey, and it's kind of hot today. It got up to, I think, like 92, 93 today on the hottest, and it's still kind of hot. It still says it's 91 outside, but the deck's in shade now. We got a nice breeze going. Humidity's low. In fact, I will pop up the temperature gauge so you guys can see. But today's going to be a nice, pretty easy day in the garden. We don't got too much to do. Obviously, we got some tomatoes that need to be picked. We're going to do that. We're going to start with a little quick tour of everything. You know, I think we're actually going to harvest the oregano today. We're going to tie that up. That'll be a little fun. And that's going to be pretty much it. Probably just some tidying up stuff. So stick around. It's going to be probably a shorter video today. And hang out with me while I work in the garden. Crack yourself a beer if you are of the imbibing type. I think I'm actually going to get another one because it's really nice out. So nice watermelon beer. So, all right. Well, stick around and let's get started. Still pretty hot outside, but at least the humidity is nice and low, and there's a pretty decent breeze. So now that the deck is in the shade, this should cool off pretty quick. So I think it's time to get out there and get some work done. I love these gravity chairs, but they keep breaking on this section right here, and you see that's starting to rust already. And then this part did detach too. I tried retaching it, but getting that bolt back in is like super difficult. So I don't know. I'm gonna try and repair them, but it's a shame because they're nice chairs, but they just, that one piece keeps breaking. It's very unfortunate, but anyway. Alright, we're just going to start with a quick walking tour of everything because there's not too much to show here. A lot of stuff kind of has died back. July was really harsh. We had a really hot July. And it was really just kind of keeping everything in survival mode more than anything else. It really wasn't about getting things to look their prettiest or, you know, so especially the deck here that I'm on tends to, you know, things tend to be a little bit hotter, like probably like a good 4 to 5 degrees hotter than it is outside. So if you imagine on a 90-degree day, you know, you're getting up there. So we had a couple 100 days. The humidity's been horrible, so rain's been sporadic. But anyway, all things considered, things have been doing pretty good. We're going to start with these pepper plants because, you know, if one thing loves extreme heat, it's peppers, man. And these peppers are just, you know, bursting with life. All these little guys, all these little peppers up here. Focus. There you go. So, you know, the idea is we're going to be able to pick those. Get some more down here, yeah. Once they start turning red, so that'll be great. The tomatoes, so I'm very proud of these tomatoes. They're not the greatest looking, but hey, you know, these are Roma tomatoes that I grew from seed, if you remember back from my first couple of videos. This is the first time I've ever grown a vegetable from seed. No, that's not exactly true because the peas I grew from seed too. But, you know, tomatoes from seed, I'm very proud of myself for doing so. I just bought a pack of Romas in the thing. I think it was like a couple bucks, and I got, like, you know, all these tomatoes. So these tomatoes actually probably cost less money than getting them at the store, and I think that's partly the whole idea, right? But the Romas are doing pretty well. You can see I still got some green guys. There's one right there. Got another couple green ones here. So they are still producing. They kind of can't, yeah, there's like some tinier red ones there. And look at that beautiful red one. That's gorgeous. Like they definitely kind of put out their tomatoes all at once, but I'm still getting a couple here and there, so that's pretty cool. Now the Rutgers ones, the Jersey Rutgers, they didn't get as big as I wanted them to, but man, they're still putting out like tons of tomatoes. Look at that. There's a couple of tomatoes there. We got some here. I don't know if you guys can hear me over the air conditioner, but a couple back here. It's just really great. So I was expecting them to be bigger. I think that's probably partly because of the pot I used. This one's actually a hard to see, but this is a Jersey too. One of the Rutgers Jersey tomatoes. So that's pretty cool. All right, cool. Moving on. The elderflower tree. Elderflower tree is not looking great, guys. I think partly because it's been hot. It hasn't been getting a lot of water. You can see a lot of the leaves are starting to kind of yellow in the middle. I don't think that's a good sign. I think they're starting to become nutritionally deficient. I think it needs some fertilizer, which I'm gonna throw some on, and I'm gonna water it aggressively today. That's also partly due to the fact that I think that the center is dying back because they just shaded out the center, which is kind of normal. You do expect that on certain trees, but I think the dieback has been kind of aggressive. So ultimately, I think my biggest concern is the pot's too small. You know, it's just grown so incredibly, insanely over this past year or past couple months that like the pot can't keep up. So it's gonna definitely need to be repotted at some point. I'm just trying to think about like when would be a good time to do that, how aggressive I should be. Yeah, but you know, it's still got growth. I mean, like, look at this. This is new growth up here. I was looking in here. That's new growth. So it's definitely growing. You know, it's not going to give us flowers this summer probably, but I'm okay with that. That's fine. All right, moving on. Let's show you real quickly here. Somehow the mint decided to come back. It's not looking particularly vibrant, but I mean, it did come back a little bit. That's probably enough for like a mint julep there. Put this back here. All right. So I think last time, I told you guys that the strawberries were pretty much done. Much to my amazement, they're not done. I put them down here in a slightly shadier spot, this one. And look at that, that's a good looking strawberry. I'm gonna eat that right now, actually. Oh my god, delicious, so sweet. The router's trying to do its thing. I really need to put that on a pot. And we'll have another strawberry plant next year. Sorry, I got strawberry juice all over my fingers. Hosta. Hosta's dried out. A little bit too hot for the hosta. Hosta's like shade. And it tried throwing out flowers. The flowers got burnt to a crisp instantly. So I put it into a slightly shadier spot where it's just kind of hanging out. It's going to be fine. It's going to survive. But it definitely prefers being in shade. So I think this actually might be moved to the shade garden next year. If we got a new place, then it may need to go to a, you know, shadier spot. But keep on moving here. We're all doing this in one take. We're doing it live. The herb sisters. We got thyme, rosemary, sage, dwarf sage, special kind of rosemary called Goritza, and then this is Hi-Ho Silver thyme, which is just pretty looking. But this combination of herbs has been delicious, man. I made some turkey meatballs, and I just like cut up some sage, some rosemary, and fresh thyme in them, and fried them in olive oil, and oh man, so good. It's really nice how they're kind of really enjoying. I mean, they're dying back a little bit in the middle, but that's okay. They're doing pretty well, despite the high heats and like the relatively little bit of rainfall we've been having. The thing about sage, thyme, and rosemary is that they're alpine. So they are used to drier, harsher conditions. So these are the types of ones that will grow in very harsh, hot you know, conditions in the summer. And I think thyme and rosemary actually do come back every year. I don't know about sage, but anyway, so I recommend you guys trying different varieties of these herbs out, because they make very interesting flavor profiles and combinations that you may not be used to. Now, although these 3 herbs are doing good, the basil is not doing so good. So basil, I've tried growing basil for like at least 4 years in a row, and every year, like, my basil just does not do well. And I don't know if it's just the conditions I have it in, or I'm not growing it right. I know basil does not like to be overly drenched, and it likes to be sunny but not too hot. You know, so some of these like leaves are yellowing back. You know, it has, I've been trimming it pretty aggressively, so it's kind of been branching out, and it's not flowering or anything, so that's good. We did cut a bunch of basil and put it into a vase inside, and that actually did really well. You know, we did get plenty of basil. I made some good sauces with it and everything, but I don't know, I'm really bad at growing basil for some reason. I think it has to do with the conditions we got it in, but you know, for now, it's hanging in. These are our dahlias that I got for Annie, and she planted them in these. They were planted as tubers. They have grown a lot of leaves, but we've gotten no flowers from them. And I'm pretty convinced we're not going to get flowers from them. We'll see. And I think it has to do with A, it's the first year they were potted, B, the harsh conditions, you know, and C, I think the sunlight. I think they prefer dappled shade. I don't think they prefer shade, and I don't think they prefer bright lights. I think they prefer to be dappled. They're a little temperamental, surprisingly, but we'll see. You know how they do. They're still alive. They're still hanging in. They got a little bit of powdery mildew on some of the leaves, but it's not that big a deal. You know, we'll continue to watch them as the summer goes on. So, this is my azalea, my rhododendron. It's, I think, gonna flower again in the autumn. So I've been watering it I neglected it for a pretty decent amount of time. Excuse me. So the rhododendrons are pretty hardy. This is actually my temperature gauge, by the way, for the outside. So it's pretty hardy, but I was reading that, you know, if you want it to flowers, you know, in the autumn, you got to start, you know, this time of year, really aggressively watering it again and trying to get it back up to speed. So that's what I've been doing. You can tell this side of the plant's kind of nice and vibrant and growing well. This side, obviously, a little bit more droopy. So we're just gonna have to give it some more love. I might move it out of the corner here, put it in a little bit more prominent space, so I can, you know, pay attention to it a little bit better. But yeah, it's hanging in, doing well. Moving over here, this is my beer. It's probably a good time for one right now. This is my lavender plant. Like I said, first year I got flowers from the lavender, and the flowers are hanging in there. It looks like an animal or something may have jumped on it, like a squirrel, and kind of smushed it. But these things are super hardy. They grow in provincial France, which is almost the next closest thing to a desert you can get. Very low rainfall, kind of why their grapes and everything do so good there for wine. But yeah, so it's hanging in. Probably needs a little bit of TLC as well, some watering, some trimming. I may do that today. We'll see. All right, I'm going to pause the video just for editing purposes, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so this is my other strawberry. Like I said, hanging in. New flowers, that means new berries coming, so that's pretty cool. Alright, I'm gonna get down here so we can look at this together, but this is my lemon tree, which has absolutely turned into a tree. It was a plant, now it's a tree. Sorry, my alarm went off for some reason. Anyway, so yeah, so the lemon has grown exceptionally well. It really loves the hot temperatures, you know, kind of similar to the lavender and the peppers. You know, lemons really like being hot and in poor conditions with kind of intermittent rain. It's kind of perfect for a lemon tree, you know. But this thing, I mean, it's still got new growth coming. I don't know if you can, let's see if we can get in there real close. Yeah, some new growth there. See that little sprig? It's a handsome looking tree. It's getting there. You know, it's putting up some stronger roots. Like the trunk is thickening very well. I'm getting a device too hot warning, so I'm just going to pause for a few minutes and then we'll get back to the action. Okay, moving on quickly. This is the potato tree. I call it a tree because, I mean, look at it. So I don't know, there might be something going on down there. We might get some very good surprising potatoes. We got another one over there too. So yeah, like this popped up. Like we're getting plenty of, I think we're gonna have plenty of potatoes, which is a pretty cool surprise. I was not expecting that. This is my old pea plant. I need to, you know, clean it out. It served us well. Thank you, pea plant. Move on to the next thing. Here, it's kind of crammed in here. But this is the oregano. The oregano has exploded. Most importantly though, it's flowering. So I believe it is now time, because it's flowering, to harvest this. So it's still growing, definitely. I still see some sprigs growing, but I think hopefully this will be enough time to kind of collect everything and go from there. So we're gonna cut it up, and we're gonna string it. I'm gonna show you that on video, it'll be cool. Back here is the peony plant. It's a little droopy. I've been giving it some water, but it's hanging in. The leaves are nice and vibrant still. Excuse me. But the fun thing about the peony is that it will, the leaves will turn orange in the fall. So it's a really great fall plant to have too. So who knows, maybe I'll show you that in a future video. All right, so let's get to picking some tomatoes. There you go, the fruits of my labor. It's one of the jerseys. It's a good aroma. It's a pretty good bowl of tomatoes. If I do say so myself. There's a couple I saw from seed, and that one's in a couple pots in your patio, so that's not bad. If you used them exclusively for bagels, you know, that would last you a while. But I think I'm going to make a sauce out of these, so we'll see. All right. So the clouds are rolling in and the wind's rolling in too, so I'm a little bit suspicious there may be a storm brewing. So I think we're gonna hurry up and harvest this oregano, and then we're gonna move on. It's very pretty though. Okay, so here's my oregano. I've laid out 2 pieces of string on this chair, so my plan is I'm just gonna cut them into, you know, the long strands. We're gonna lay them on the chair and then I'll tie them up. I think I'm gonna leave the rest of the oregano there. Let's see if it grows or not, but I mean, that's a pretty large amount of oregano from 2 little pots. So I'm gonna tie these up, and I think I'm actually gonna hang it right over here so it can dry out. We'll see how we do. We do get some protection from that railing up there, or that awning up there, so we tie it up and then we'll hang it up and I'll show you. Okay. We hung the oregano, so hopefully it'll air dry a little bit. We have it hung on this light precariously. We'll see if it works. There's like a little nut thing up there to keep it from really blowing off, but we'll see. You know, I have to trust my knots. I probably need to learn a couple more knots. I just basically use some surgeon knots, which is a square knot, but it's in the first loop you loop twice, and then the second loop you loop once. That's kind of like a self-tightening knot. But aside from surgeon knots, I really don't know anything else. So maybe somebody who's better at nuts will be able to help me out here. But I think it looks cool. It smells delicious. Oh my god, it smells amazing. So we're gonna let that dry out, and then hopefully like in a week or so, we'll be able to jar it into a mason jar and have it for the rest of the winter, which is really cool. I'm so excited about this. And yes, if in case you're asking, Italian Grandpa Pasquale says that the flowers are actually the best part. So yes, you can eat the flowers. So, all right. Well, friends, so ends another video in the garden. Yeah, the summer's been hard, I have to say. July was especially oppressive, heat-wise, temperature-wise. You know, everything died back pretty hard. It's kind of hard keeping everything alive. Everything is alive, but I wouldn't say everything's thriving. Everything's kind of just hanging on, you know. It also makes it harder that I don't have a watering system back here, and I literally need to go back and forth to my sink and fill up a 2-gallon watering can in order to keep everything watered. And praying for rain, basically, is like how I'm surviving this summer. You know, it has kind of affected my passion a little bit. I feel like I've been less excited in July and August about the garden than I was in, you know, in the springtime. But that being said, you know, I think it's really cool that we're gonna have our own oregano. I mean, we got a ton of tomatoes, so definitely should make a nice hearty sauce with that. And you know, peppers are still on their way, so we're gonna make some nice hot peppers to enjoy throughout the year, throughout the winter. So lots of things still happening. I definitely will enjoy it when I have a property that I can put raised beds on that are a little bit cooler, better wind flow, easier to water. I think that'll make my life a lot easier. I think I've gotten at least 3 mosquito bites since I've been out here today too, so that's no good. At least 3. But yeah, overall kind of a success. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Let me share this project with you. This has been like a pretty ongoing project, and it's something that I've really never done before. And you know, I've gotten a lot of psychological benefit from it. I've gotten a lot of physical benefit from it, just being outside. You know, and I appreciate you all, you know, hanging out with these dumb little videos and enjoying the garden with me. So until next time, so we'll see if there'll be a September video or not. I mean, I think the peppers probably will be ready to harvest around September. And maybe we'll have news on a new house by then, potentially, so we'll see. But anyway, until then, thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.